James Harden. James Harden. Harden. James Harden. I'm just eating so much crow with my Harden take. Every game I fade Harden. Every game he is smashing. Breaking the slate. Fade him at 99% ownership a couple slates ago. Gets Embiid foul trouble and can't miss. All right, so I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I can't keep fading Harden and being punished. I gotta buy it. And let me tell you, I wasn't going to. Then Joel Embiid gets rolled out. So it's like, oh, you almost gotta play Harden now, right? Yeah. I'm like looking at him, like, all right. You know, I had Simons in my main slate build. I had Nurkic, but I had to move some stuff around. Gotta prioritize James Harden. Without Joel Embiid, you gotta play. So I just, had to swallow my pride about how everyone keeps telling me it's Harden from Houston. He's back. And I'm saying, no. But you know what? Yeah, just eating crow. I gotta just play. Gotta play him here with no Embiid. This is no Joel Embiid. Harden's usage way up. It can't go wrong. I got to finally buy in James Harden. And I gave a PSA, too. To let everyone know before lock that I'm playing James Harden. $34 minutes for James Harden. 23 fantasy points. $23 fantasy points. That is 2. That is 3. 23 fantasy points for James Harden when I finally buy in without Embiid. Just to really think about that for a second. Harden without Embiid going for like 0.6 fantasy points a minute. But when I fade at high ownership, 70 bomb. Can't miss. Finally buy no Joel Embiid. Harden team to himself. 23 fantasy points. And then last night, I couldn't even get the energy to make a video. I was so pissed. I had no energy. I originally made a video and I was like, no, I'm just deleting it. It was me just like monotone. Dude, I was so pissed about last night too. Last night, I have Mark Andrews injured to end my NFL Showdown slate. Kevin Huerter in my NBA lineup injured to end my NBA night. One slate. And then I finally buy into Harden here. 23 fantasy points in 34 minutes. It is all pain. And it sucks too, because this is a take that I really liked on the main slate. And I was hammering this home on Patreon. I was like, why is Damian Jones 60% owned and Wenyen Gabriel 1%? And it ended up being 61% Damian Jones, 5.5% Wenyen Gabriel. I was telling everyone, all right, I don't know why everyone's overly confident with Damian Jones. Sure, he's starting, but why is he 60% and Wenyen Gabriel is 0.5% when they are the only two bigs in the roster? Is everyone just super confident Damian Jones is playing 30 minutes? I was like, that made no sense to me. I was like, play Wenyen Gabriel. If you're going to play one of the Lakers bigs, play Wenyen Gabriel in tournaments. And that's a move right there that can win you a GPP. You might think, okay, Gabriel only went for 25 fantasy points. Whatever, DK. That's huge. 11 fantasy points, both min-price guys. One is 61% owned. One is 0.5%. So, didn't matter, though, because I had James Harden in my main slate. However, on the late slate, I still ran bad on the late slate. I got random Jose Alvarado, massive foul trouble, and Trey Murphy foul trouble. Both of them lose about 5 minutes or so to prevent my takedown on the late slate. I finished in third place in the late slate. Alvarado, Simons, Trey Murphy, Hart, my boy Yusuf Nurkic, the Bosnian beast, going for 55 fantasy points. I love that man so much. And I just couldn't resist playing Nurkic, Sengun, going up against each other. Both smash. Nurk, 55. Sengun, 36. Would you play Sengun more? Play him more. Played him like 25 minutes. Play the man 35 minutes a night. Why are we playing guys like Garrison Matthews? And why is Eric Gordon still playing big minutes for this team? Someone tell me that. Play Sengun 35 minutes a night. Also play Tari Eason more. Okay? But, CJ McCollum only going for 34 fantasy points. Najee Marshall's an absolute smash, going for 38 fantasy points. But, foul trouble there for Alvarado and Trey Murphy. And then the Pelicans, they waved the white flag with 2 minutes to go, down 14. I'm like, just leave the starters in. But whatever. Still a great night for me in the late slate. Making up for the Harden. It's Harden, man. Oh, man, do I ever hate that guy. Wow, do I hate Harden. But, still a profitable night for me on the late slate. Making up for the late slate. Had James Harden, if Embiid just played, I would have had a great night, even with the Magic. By the way, Magic faders, if you were a Magic fader, let me know what the lotto numbers are. Massive blowout to bail out the faders. Banchero, Franz Wagner, Carter Jr., even Bol were some of the better plays in the slate, and the faders get so bailed out by a random blowout. So if you faded all the Magic, let me know what the lotto numbers are. But that was very, very tilting for sure, the random blowout there. But that's a recap of everything, guys. Hope you guys had a good night. Let's get into the video really quick though. Let's talk about Prize Picks. They're the sponsor of this video. I didn't have a good night on Prize Picks. Went 2-3 overall. Franz Wagner assist should have hit, so it should have been 3 for 2 night. It should have been 3 for 5 overall night, which would have been just average. But ran a blowout there, prevented the Franz assist to hit. He fell one short. But if you guys are not familiar with Prize Picks, it is a player prop site. You can build out lineups with player props. You can build 2, 3, 4, up to 5 players in your player prop lineup, and then you can win up to 10 extra money. A lot of different sports too. You can mix and match sports. They have some Australian basketball. I saw Aaron Baines on here. Let's see. Is there any other names I recognize? Derek Walton Jr., the Michigan product. I know him. He was on the Heat, end of the bench for a few years. Peyton Siva. He was Louisville. I remember him. Rajon Tucker. That sounds familiar too. Was that Isaac Humphries from Purdue? I recognize a lot of these names. They have Australian basketball, again, football, basically every single sport you can think of. You can mix and match sports. If you want to give it a try, make sure you use my code DKDFS. That'll give you a 100% match up to $100. If you guys are looking for more in-depth content, you can check my Patreon. A lot of different packages, Prize Picks only package, DFS package, everything included package. So check it out. Let's get into the slate. So Golden State and Charlotte. Let's game us some blowout risk. Let's see. Do we have the Vegas odds out yet for these games? Let's take a look. So it's a 234 over under and 9-point favorites the Warriors are. So definitely some blowout risk. We got Pacers, Nets, 11-point spread, 234.5 over under. Hawks and Bucks, 228 over under, 5.5-point spread. Thunder, Mavs, 10.5-point spread, 218.5. So we got a lot of games here with potential blowout risk. I would guess the Grizzlies, even without Ja, would still be decent favorites, or Ja's most likely not playing. But talking about Golden State, so Steph Curry, 9.8K. I mean, it's a great matchup. If the game can stay competitive, the ceiling is massive on Steph. So Do like some Steph Curry. I don't mind Andrew Wiggins either. He's playing huge minutes right now. He's been very clearly their second best player. So like Wiggins. Jordan Poole is basically always the same story for me. If he's going to hover in this like high 5K, low 6K range, he's just going to be a tournament-only play. He does have a ceiling, but doesn't really stand out at that price point. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, both these guys' minutes are slowly been ticking up. I think they're both fair plays. Klay a little bit scoring dependent. Draymond more of a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. As far as the other Warriors go, Wiseman, Looney kind of splitting the center minutes. Wiseman minutes are a little bit shaky. Minutes are trending down a little bit. 18, only 14 last game, so it is a bit concerning. But the positive with Wiseman is he's a good point per minute guy. So if he finds his way into more minutes, he could have a really, really good game. And then we're getting from Kevon Looney. Most likely in a competitive game, probably low to mid 20s minutes. I think he's a fair value play. Everyone else, JaMychal Green's getting decent minutes on the bench. He's fine. Moses Moody is getting decent minutes on the bench. He's fine. Neither are super productive. Minga has kind of been out of the rotation. You're seeing a little bit of run for Ty Jerome, but nothing for me to go there. Moving on to Charlotte, who got absolutely destroyed today. No Ball, no Rozier, most likely. So we know where the offense is coming from. It's the two wings in Hayward and Oubre, as well as Dennis Smith Jr. Basically, everyone busted on the Hornets because they got blown out by the Magic. Come on, man. How are the Hornets literally beating they're beating good teams, but then you lay an egg to them? Hayward, Oubre, Dennis Smith Jr., these are all guys that should play 30 plus minutes in a competitive game. Dennis Smith Jr. was awful tonight at relatively high ownership. He's still fine. Gordon Hayward actually did have a decent game in 26 minutes. And Oubre is a little bit scoring dependent, but he should chuck when he's out there. 16 shot attempts, only won 4 of 16, but those three are probably the main targets. The rest of the Hornets, more secondary plays. PJ Washington, 5'9". I would just rather get to Oubre. I would rather get to Hayward for a little bit more. Plumlee and Richards, they're splitting the center minutes. They're both fair value plays. Neither really stand out. McDaniels is seeing decent minutes off the bench, but he seems priced about right. Bouknight is kind of getting that backup point guard role. He's been okay, 3-7. I guess he's fine. If you think the game blows out, maybe gets a little bit more run. You've been seeing a little bit of run from Maladon as well. Both the two bench guards are okay. Again, if you think Golden State blows them out, then these guys will get extended run. Moving on to Indiana and Brooklyn. So this game has some blowout risk. I hate the Pacers. I hate Rick Carlisle, but Tyrese Halliburton has been playing a bit more recently. 38 minutes here, 36 minutes here. Where in competitive games previously, he was playing low 30s, even 27 here. That was the game where he got benched, which don't get me started on that. But yeah, Halliburton, if you're targeting some of the Nets main guys, I think you want to look to a guy like Halliburton because if the game stays competitive, probably one of KD or Kyrie is having a really good game. And if it stays competitive, it's most likely because of Tyrese Halliburton having a good game. So I do like some Halliburton there at 8-3. Benedict Mathurin finally came back down to earth last couple games. I knew he wasn't going to continue to shoot 70% from the field. 3 of 11 here, 4 of 11 here. Kind of busted, but he's still getting decent minutes. He's still in play for GPPs. Miles Turner came out and played 32 minutes. Now, it is a back-to-back, so I think there's a chance he could rest here. But if Miles Turner plays and there's no longer a limit on him, which it doesn't look like there is, I think he looks like a really good option. The only downside is ownership will be up after that big game. Plus, you got to factor in potential blowout. Buddy Hield, always in play for tournaments. His minutes have been a little bit shaky at times, but still a guy that will chuck when he's on the court. If they do rest Miles Turner, then we get into the conversation, unfortunately, of guys like Isaiah Jackson and Jalen Smith and Goga Bitadze. Jalen Smith has surprisingly stayed out of foul trouble last couple games here. He's been playing about 30 minutes a game. I think he's a solid option here, but look at the matchup against Brooklyn, right? So you got to think about it. All right, who's going to be on who? Well, you're going to have Miles Turner on Nick Claxton. That means Jalen Smith going to be on Kevin Durant. Foul-prone, injury-prone Jalen Smith on KD. That worries me a little bit. The rest of the Pacers, the value is just so tough to figure out who's going to play what minutes. Duarte's minutes all over the place. 21, then 16, then 26, then 12. Aaron Naismith had a good game. He played 30 minutes, but previous games to that, 17 and 18 minutes, so hard to trust him. Nembhard had a couple games where he got solid run. He played 16 minutes last game. I hate this team. I hate this rotation. I really do. On the Brooklyn side, so good matchup here game. They should be able to win. KD, Kyrie at the top. I think are both solid spend-ups. I would give the edge to KD over Kyrie if I had to pick. I don't think either are a priority, but again, if this game stays competitive, you probably see one of those guys having a really solid game. And this is a game I could see Ben Simmons being solid too. He's actually stayed out of foul trouble recently. 34 minutes, 37 minutes in the last game was overtime, but I don't hate going to a Ben Simmons, a guy that can get those peripheral stats. This is a game, against a bad Pacers team. Maybe he can pick up some blocks and steals. Claxton's been a bit quiet of late. Also, his minutes have been trending down a little bit, but he's still a solid GPP play. You might have Seth Curry back, which would kind of make this rotation, be hard to target any of the other guys. Royce O'Neal's the last guy I'll mention at 4.9. He's playing huge minutes. He's a safe value for that reason, but Joe Harris really not playing a ton right now. And that's it for the Nets. Moving on to Philadelphia and Chicago. All right. Let's talk about James Harden. Talk about again. I fade at 99.8% ownership here. Get Embiid foul trouble. Get Harden triple-double and can't miss. But here, no Joel Embiid. Finally buy in. 23 fantasy points and 9 shot attempts for Harden. Wow. Isn't that something? So, if there's no Joel Embiid, we know what's going to happen here. They're going to go, against the Bulls, they might not start that small ball lineup. So, last game, they did start small ball with D'Anthony Melton. And I was like, I really like D'Anthony Melton here for value. The only downside with Melton was that we didn't really know what was happening with the Pelicans yet. So I was like, do you want to take a guy like Melton, I think is a really good value, or do you want to maybe leave room for one of those Pelicans guys? I ended up playing Melton on the late slate or on the main slate. He did really, really good. Obviously smashed. If they do start that small ball lineup with no Melton or with no Embiid, Melton's going to be probably my favorite play. And then Tyrese Maxey, man. 15 of 20 shooting. Hold on. Not when I play him. When I play against Milwaukee, 34 minutes, 17 fantasy points. I think I played him here too, 17 fantasy points. That's what happens when I play Maxey. When I fade Maxey, 52 fantasy points, 65 fantasy points for Tyrese Maxey. 15 of 20 shooting for Maxey. Tobias Harris, we know what we're getting out of him. I think he's a solid play there in the mid-range. This grouping of Harden, Harris, Maxey, Melton are all going to look really, really good if Embiid is out. Harden, Maxey, the guards probably looking the best. Harris is still a solid play, though. If Embiid's out and they start like Montrezl Harrell, I really like Harrell. He did play 17 minutes last game. I don't really think I want to look to PJ Tucker. I know he started at the 5, but I don't want to do it. So that's huge news. If Joel Embiid plays, well then, I don't know if there's like a standout play here, but basically you could still consider like the main guys. On the Chicago side, got to keep an eye on Zach LaVine news. LaVine being out, and you have DeRozan and Vooch both bust. It was the bench that made a run. Drummond went for like a double-double, almost a 50 bomb for Andre Drummond. That's what. If Drummond finds his way into more minutes, he's a great point per minute guy. If there's no LaVine, DeRozan, Vooch should be the guys that pick up more usage. They're both solid options. And this grouping of like Io and Caruso and Kobe White, Goran Dragic, those guys should all see a little bit more run. If LaVine plays, I don't know if there's anything that really stands out to me on the Bulls. Atlanta, Milwaukee, this game should stay competitive. And the positive here with the Hawks, which I like, is they're playing their main guys, and they're playing them a lot of minutes right now. So Trae Young, DeJounte Murray in competitive games, they're playing like 40 minutes a game. Now, last game was a blowout against Detroit, sure, but these guys are playing huge minutes. I think both are solid plays in a game that should be played at a fast pace, should stay competitive. So I like both Atlanta guards a good amount here. John Collins at 6.6, he kind of came back down to earth last game, but he's still been playing pretty big minutes in competitive games. I think he's a decent option. Clint Capella and Okongwu, they're splitting the center minutes, so I don't really know if we have to get to either. Okongwu is a bit cheaper, and he had a really good game last game. I think if I had to pick one, it would be Okongwu over Capella because the price. And then DeAndre Hunter is just there. He's just been quiet offensively. And there's really not much. Like the bench, you're not getting much from Justin Holiday. He's just running cardio out there. Aaron Holiday at 3.5. I mean, he's getting a little bit of run. Played a lot last game because of the blowout. Most of the time, he's hovering around 15 minutes. Jalen Johnson also in the rotation, but again, he's not seeing a ton of run either. So mainly the starters there for Atlanta, a little bit Nishino Kongwu. On the Bucs side, I mean, it's hard not to like Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's just on another level right now. And the minutes, too, this is what I want to mention here. The minutes are way up on Giannis in the regular season. 36 here, 38 here, 39 here against the Knicks. And that was no overtime. So if we're going to get close to 40 minutes from Giannis, Giannis should be like a 13 to 13.5K player. He's underpriced, right? For a majority of the year last year in the regular season, Giannis was only playing like 32 minutes a game. If we're going to get 38, 39 minutes, I really like Giannis here. Drew Holiday, 8-1. He's the number 2 offensively. Kind of just fine with him. Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. These are both guys that do have a ceiling. I would give the edge to Portis since he has that power forward eligibility. But you did see a big game from Brook Lopez last game. Both the bigs, I think, are decent plays. Grayson Allen, if he knocks down his shots, does have a ceiling. Went 6 for 10 last game, went for almost 30 fantasy points. I think he's an okay play. Not a ton that I'm interested in off the bench. I don't know if it's necessary. Javon Carter, I think he had a decent game in 33 minutes. I guess, of these like really cheap guys, he would be the guy that I would look to. And I believe he still started. I think he did. I think they brought Bobby Portis off the bench, but not 100% sure. I wasn't keeping an eye on the Bucs starting line. Moving on to the Thunder and the Mavs. This is another team I really hate seeing on the schedule. As the rotation, and it's so dumb. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I take his over assist. He's on pace to easily hit it last game. Massive foul trouble. Comes off the bench in the second half. Loses huge minutes. But, Shai. One sec. Shai, if he stays out of foul trouble, is a good spend up. There is some blow risk, right? Double-digit spread, but do like Shai. He's the leader of the team, no Giddey. As far as the rest of the Thunder goes, good luck. Man, Dort, these guys should see decent minutes, but Man only played 22 minutes last game. That was a bit concerning, while Lou Dort went up to 34. Aaron Wiggins did play 36 minutes. I don't necessarily buy that. He's a pretty bad point per minute guy. He is only 4.2K, so he's fine. But if it comes down to situation on a slate like this where Aaron Wiggins is going to be very, very popular, I'm just going to fade because, number one, I don't trust the rotation at all. And number two, he's Aaron Wiggins. So he's a solid value. I have a feeling, though, right now, Wiggins will be popular on tomorrow's slate. If that's the case, no way. I'm not playing chalk Aaron Wiggins. JRE, like I said, who on earth knows how many minutes he's going to play? Pokusevski, almost been out of the rotation. That in 26 minutes. Kenrich Williams, back-to-back mid-20s fantasy points game, mid-25-minute fantasy point games. Before that, in the teens in minutes. Darius Bazley, actually a decent point-per-minute guy. Almost out of the rotation a couple games ago. 20 minutes in back-to-back games. He's a good point-per-minute. If you think he's going to play minutes, I like some Bazley. Like Muscala, 18 minutes here, 19 minutes here, then only 12. Ousmane Dieng. Like, this rotation is so dumb. I hate it. Just run consistent rotation. But basically my thoughts are these guys are in play. So this grouping of Wiggins and Pokusevski and Kenrich Williams and Darius Bazley, even Mike Muscala, this grouping of value, they're all firmly in play. But here's the GPP mindset that I talk about this a lot on Patreon. If everyone's going to flock to this guy, right? If everyone's flocking to Aaron Wiggins, I'm just going to go to like Kenrich Williams, or I'm just going to go to Darius Bazley. Like, I'm just going to the guy. I'm going to go to a lower owned option in that group because I don't trust any of them. If I'm going to play one in GPPs, I don't trust any of them. And if one's going to get a lot of the ownership, I'm just going to leverage the field and go to a lower owned guy. Right. So that was that was the thought process with the Lakers and my take on being high on Gabriel over Damian Jones for tournaments, right? I was like, why is the field so overly confident in Damian Jones? This is a situation where like they're going to split the minutes. It didn't make sense. So that's basically my thoughts here for the Thunder. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic has been phenomenal. He's 12.5K though, so it is a little bit tough to get to him, but I have no issue if you want to get up to Luka. Wood, more of a tournament play for me. Dinwiddie's kind of just there. Him and Hardaway kind of splitting the minutes. Tim Hardaway, 26 and 30 minutes last game. Again, that was in overtime. So both like the secondary guards are fair plays. And then this grouping of, has Dorian Finney-Smith been awful, man. 40 minutes, 11 fantasy points. This guy's averaging like 0.25 fantasy points a minute right now. He was pretty solid in the playoffs. He has been awful, Dorian Finney-Smith. But he's still playing big minutes, as is Reggie Bullock. They're both not doing anything. They're just 3-and-D guys. They're playable, but, I mean, you saw the floor. And Maxi Kleber is still getting decent minutes, too. He's a guy that is pretty similar, I guess. A little bit better point per minute between those guys. But, this grouping all look pretty similar. Jordan Finney-Smith, Bullock, and Kleber. JaVale McGee, you know what you're going to get from him. Like 12 to 14 minutes, probably, around 15 fantasy points. He's fine for value. I'm not going to Green. I'm not going to Campazzo. No, thank you. Finally, Memphis and Utah. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Ja Morant is going to play in this game. He is doubtful. So, can I interest you guys in Chalk Dillon Brooks? Chalk Dillon Brooks. That always goes very well, right? But seriously, Tyus Jones at 4.7. That's chalk I'm eating. I don't care what the ownership is. It could be 99% owned. I am eating chalk Tyus Jones. He's a good point per minute guy. And now he's going to see a big minutes increase without Ja Morant. I love Tyus Jones. I don't think we have to talk about him too much. He's basically, I am not fading Tyus Jones on the slate. Desmond Bane, 7.4. So, back-to-back really good shooting games. He's going to be popular. I will say, though, this guy has shown a floor if he's struggling with the shot, right? When I play him here, struggles with the shot, massive blowout. Finally fade, career high points. When I finally fade Bane. I have been playing Bane. Oh, yeah, I was playing him here. 10% shooting. Finally faded because Dillon Brooks was in. I was like, you know what? With Brooks in, I'm not going to go to Bane or Ja. 60 bomb and 38 points for Desmond Bane. Real life points, career high when I finally fade. Just wanted to bring that up again. Just more proof. Again, the Harden thing today, obviously. 2 injuries last night. Just one slate. But Desmond Bane, he's going to have a lot more usage, so he's a solid option. Dillon Brooks is going to get ownership here at 5-1. The minutes haven't been great on him, though. They're kind of taking it easy. Those minutes could bump up here, so Jones, Brooks, Bane, that's what the offense is going to run through. Steven Adams, we know we're getting out of him. Most likely 25 to 30 minutes. He's a solid play. Santa Claus Aldama finally came back down to earth because I actually thought he was a decent play, but previous slates where I would fade him, 40 bomb for Santa Claus Aldama. But he's fine play. Conchar is questionable. If he misses, there could be some guys that we can look to for value because, like, starting lineup will be Tyus Jones, Bane, Brooks, Adams, Aldama. You're going to see Brandon Clark come off the bench. And if Brandon Clark can find his way to more minutes, I mentioned this last slate. I was like, if Clark finds his way into 20 plus minutes, he can break the slate. And he played 23 minutes and broke the slate, went for 30 fantasy points. So Clark's a good point per minute guy. Always intrigued by him because if he finds his way to more minutes, he could have a really, really good game. And then if there's no Conchar, we got to talk about a couple of these young guys, his rookies. So Jake LaRavia is 3.6K. He played 30 minutes last game. Again, his minutes have kind of been all over the place, but he's playable. David Roddy is only 3.3K. I think he could see a little bit more run here. And then I do think that they probably dust off Kennedy Chandler and play him at the backup point guard position. He has not been playing at all, but if there's no Conchar and no Ja, you might get some backup point guard run for Kennedy Chandler at the 5-man price. Now, if Conchar ends up playing, then that makes this grouping of like LaRavia, Roddy, and Kennedy Chandler a lot riskier because Conchar would eat up a good amount of minutes there. So keep an eye on Conchar news if you're going to take a shot on one of those like rookies. And finally, the Utah Jazz. No Ja Morant, better chance this game can stay competitive. Lauri Markkanen, again, when I play, no way. Fade, 50 bomb. 6.9K, he's going to get a lot of shots up. I think he's a decent option. Clarkson and Conley, both these guys should play in a competitive game around 30 minutes. Clarkson ceiling a little bit higher on him. Conley, probably the floor a bit higher on him. He's more the safe play. Clarkson more than GPP play. Elio Olynyk, if he can stay out of foul trouble, he should play, 25 to 30 minutes. I think he's a decent option. Walker Kessler's out. If he's out again, should solidify the minutes for Olynyk. You also could see some backup 5 minutes for Jared Vanderbilt, who's always in foul trouble. I play him here, having a really, really good slate and massive foul trouble. Plays like 30 seconds in the second half. I just miss in tournaments because of it. Sexton, the minutes are just not there for him no matter what. They're just not giving him minutes. Sure, he's in some foul trouble, but it's just a bit annoying right now with the Sexton minutes. But a 4.6K, yes, you can still play him in tournaments. Malik Beasley, fine in tournaments as well, 4.2. Yeah, that's probably it for me for the Jazz. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching as always. Just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you do enjoy. And I'll see you all in the next video.